Admiral Kira Nakamura stood in the depths of Olympus Command, buried 3 kilometers beneath Mount Fuji, watching the alien vessel emerge from hyperspace. The crystalline ship glinted like a shard of diamond against the blackness of space, its hull designs unlike anything humanity had ever created, or so the Zaxians would believe. Quantum signature analysis confirms, Admiral. It's a Zaxian scout-class vessel, exactly as our deep space intelligence predicted, reported Commander Raj Patel, his fingers dancing across the holographic interface. They're running standard scanning patterns of the solar system. Kira allowed herself a slight smile. For 30 years, humanity had intercepted and decoded Zaxian transmissions, studying their tactics, technology, and most importantly, their arrogance. The Zaxian Empire had conquered over 300 civilizations, always following the same pattern: identify primitive worlds, demonstrate overwhelming technological superiority, and demand submission. They never suspected that their communications had been compromised, or that their expansion had been monitored by a humanity far more advanced than they could imagine. Begin Operation Mirage, Kira commanded. Across the solar system, humanity's greatest deception commenced. Quantum masked facilities powered down their external signatures. Advanced defense platforms shifted into pocket dimensions. Orbital habitats engaged their primitive facade protocols, projecting the appearance of basic fusion technology and crude ion engines. On the bridge of the Imperial Scout ship Constellation, High Commander Vextar's crystalline appendages shifted in amusement as he studied the holographic display of Earth. Another primitive world, he chittered to his crew. Look at their crude orbital constructions. They haven't even mastered basic gravity manipulation. His second-in-command, Sub-Commander Zura, flicked through sensor readings. Their most advanced facilities appear to be on their moon and Mars. Primitive dome structures, basic life support systems. They're struggling to survive beyond their atmosphere. What the Zaxian sensors detected was exactly what humanity wanted them to see. The Mars colonies appeared to be running on solar power and basic nuclear fusion, their dome shields flickering as if barely maintaining integrity. The lunar bases showed power fluctuations that suggested technological limitations. Earth's orbital infrastructure seemed haphazard, a collection of crude satellites and basic space stations. In reality, each apparent weakness was a carefully crafted illusion. The Mars colonies housed quantum weapon factories in phase-shifted space. The lunar bases contained gravitational manipulation systems that could tear ships apart at the atomic level. Earth's primitive satellites were advanced sensor platforms studying every aspect of Zaxian technology. Send the standard greeting, Vextar commanded. The message that erupted from the constellation was designed to inspire awe and fear. Attention, inhabitants of Sol 3. You have been graced by the presence of the eternal Zaxian Empire. Your technological and cultural development will be evaluated for potential integration into our glorious civilization. In Olympus Command, Admiral Nakamura nodded to her communications officer. The response they sent was carefully crafted to appear both hopeful and primitive. Unknown vessel, this is the United Earth Government. We greet you in peace and friendship. Your arrival marks a historic moment for our species. The message was transmitted using deliberately outdated compression algorithms, with subtle degradation suggesting technological limitations. To the Zaxians, it would appear as if humanity was straining their communications capabilities just to make contact. Predictable, Vextar chittered. Begin full system analysis. Standard conquest protocols will likely apply here. His crew initiated deep scans of Earth's infrastructure, military capabilities, and technological development. Meanwhile, in underground facilities across Earth, quantum computers monitored every scan, ensuring that the Zaxians found exactly what they were meant to find. Each probe was met with carefully constructed data suggesting a civilization barely reaching for the stars, their military might limited to chemical rockets and crude energy weapons. They're taking the bait, Commander Patel reported, watching the Zaxian scan patterns. Their analysis is focusing on our apparent weaknesses, exactly as predicted. Admiral Nakamura watched the alien ship's movements on a quantum display. Humanity has hidden in plain sight for 3 decades, preparing for this moment. Let them think us primitive. Let them underestimate us. When their invasion fleet arrives, they'll learn that appearance and reality can be very different things. As the constellation completed its survey, Vextar prepared his report to the Imperial Command. Sol 3. Designation Earth. Pre-FTL civilization. Minimal orbital presence. Primitive military capabilities. Recommend standard conquest protocol. Note: native species shows unusual focus on entertainment media depicting interstellar warfare, suggesting cultural preoccupation with space travel beyond their current capabilities. The scout ship disappeared into hyperspace, carrying its report of a seemingly primitive world ripe for conquest, but in its massive data stream, hidden in quantum fluctuations that its crew dismissed as background radiation, were the signs they should have recognized. Power signatures too perfectly aligned, radiation patterns too precisely structured, and most tellingly, a complete lack of fear in Earth's response. In Olympus Command, Admiral Nakamura addressed her global command staff. Phase 1 is complete. The Zaxians see exactly what we wanted them to see, a primitive species ready for easy conquest. They'll return with their invasion fleet, expecting no real resistance. She paused, looking at the holographic display of Earth's true defense grid, a network of quantum-shifted weapons platforms and dimensional phase generators that would remake the very nature of space-time itself. And when they do, humanity will teach them the price of empire. 2 weeks after the constellation's departure, Admiral Nakamura stood in the quantum simulation chamber deep within Olympus Command. Around her, holographic projections displayed the movements of the approaching Zaxian invasion fleet, 500 warships strong, their crystalline hulls forming a lattice of light at the edge of the Kuiper Belt. The Zaxians are right on schedule, Dr. Rashid Ibrahim, Earth's leading genopsychologist, observed from his station. His quantum interface displayed real-time analysis of Zaxian communication patterns. Their fleet formation follows traditional Imperial conquest protocols, designed to maximize visual impact and psychological dominance. Lieutenant Commander Yuki Tanaka, head of Earth's deception operations, manipulated the holographic controls with practiced precision. Their ships are arranged in the Herald pattern, just as our intelligence suggested. They want their arrival to shatter our morale before the first shot is fired. What the Zaxians couldn't know was that humanity had spent decades studying their psychological warfare tactics. Every movement of their fleet had been predicted, every attempt at intimidation anticipated and prepared for. Supreme Fleet Commander Naxville stood on the bridge of the Imperial dreadnought Eternal Dominion, his crystalline form reflecting the light of distant stars. "Deploy the Herald formations," he commanded. "Let these primitives witness the might they will soon serve." Across Earth's cities, carefully orchestrated chaos unfolded. Civilian broadcasts showed scenes of panic and confusion, all meticulously crafted by AI systems. Social media exploded with seemingly organic discussions of alien invasion, each post carefully calculated to reinforce Zaxian expectations. In reality, Earth's population had been preparing for this moment for years. What appeared to be panicked evacuations were actually combat units moving into position. Refugee centers were fortified bunkers housing quantum weapon systems. Every sign of disarray was choreographed, every weakness carefully constructed. "Their deep space sensors are probing our defenses," Commander Puddle reported in Olympus Command. "They're paying particular attention to our orbital infrastructure. Give them something to find," Admiral Nakamura ordered. Across the solar system, the deception deepened. The Mars colonies initiated emergency protocols, their dome shields flickering convincingly. Power outages rolled across lunar bases in seemingly random patterns. Earth's orbital defense platforms displayed radiation leaks and system failures that suggested primitive technology struggling to maintain operation. Dr. Ibrahim studied the Zaxian response patterns. They're completely convinced, Admiral. Their communications show increasing confidence in an easy victory. They're already discussing resource allocation for post-conquest administration. In the asteroid belt, what appeared to be simple mining operations masked vast swarms of quantum-shifted nanite weapons. Jupiter's moons, supposedly hosting only basic research outposts, concealed dimensional phase generators capable of redirecting the fabric of space-time itself. On the Eternal Dominion, Sub-Commander Kilara reviewed the sensor data with satisfaction. The humans' orbital defense grid is pathetically outdated, Supreme Commander. Their weapons are based on primitive fusion technology, barely able to maintain stable containment. Knoxville's crystalline appendages shifted in amusement. Their attempts at resistance will be brief. Prepare the standard ultimatum. The message that boomed across Earth's communications channels was designed to crush any hope of resistance. People of Earth, witness the might of the eternal Zaxian Empire. Your primitive defenses cannot hope to resist us. Submit to imperial authority or face immediate pacification. Earth's response came in fragments, degrading communication signals suggesting failing systems. Please, we seek peaceful resolution. Cannot maintain defensive grid. Request mercy. In Olympus Command, Admiral Nakamura allowed herself a grim smile as she listened to the artificially degraded transmission. Status of quantum shift generators. All systems primed and synchronized. Admiral, Lieutenant Commander Tanaka reported. Dimensional phase arrays are ready for activation on your command. Dr. Ibrahim's quantum interface pulsed with new data. The Zaxians are preparing their first strike. Historical analysis suggests they'll target our apparent command and control centers first. Perfect. Nakamura nodded. Let them hit exactly where we want them to. Every target must appear valuable but ultimately expendable. When they strike, they'll find nothing but hollow projections and empty space. Across Earth and throughout the solar system, humanity's true strength remained hidden, waiting. The Zaxians saw a primitive civilization struggling to maintain basic technology. They didn't detect the quantum weapon platforms shifting through dimensional space, the nanite swarms preparing to rewrite the laws of physics on a local scale, or the fact that every sign of weakness was a carefully placed piece in humanity's grand deception. In low Earth orbit, what appeared to be a crude early warning satellite cluster was actually a nexus point for the quantum field that would soon reshape the battlefield. On Mars, apparent atmospheric processors housed gravitic weapons that could tear ships apart at the molecular level. Even the debris field of human satellites and space junk was precisely positioned, each piece a potential quantum-shifted weapon waiting to be activated. Final positions, all units, Admiral Nakamura commanded. Remember, we need their first strike to hit exactly where we want it. Let them think they're breaking us. Let them think they understand warfare. The Zaxian fleet moved into attack position, their formations perfect, their tactics textbook. They had no reason to think they needed anything else. Their empire had never faced serious resistance during first contact, had never encountered a species that could truly challenge their technological superiority. They were about to learn that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't technology. It was the ability to make their enemies underestimate them until it was too late. The Zaxian fleet's first strike came at dawn. 500 energy beams lanced through Earth's atmosphere, targeting what they believed to be key military installations and command centers. The attack struck with devastating precision, or so they thought. Initial strikes proceeding exactly as predicted, Lieutenant Commander Tanaka reported, her hands dancing across the quantum interface. They're hitting our decoy sites with 98% accuracy. In orbit, Supreme Commander Knoxville watched with satisfaction as explosions bloomed across Earth's surface. Observe how their primitive defenses crumble, he declared to his command staff. Their orbital platforms aren't even attempting to intercept our weapons. What the Zaxians saw as successful strikes were actually hitting elaborate holograms and empty facilities. Each explosion was carefully orchestrated, the destruction precise and convincing, but ultimately meaningless. The real Earth military remained untouched, hidden in quantum-shifted space, just microseconds out of phase with normal reality. Dimensional stabilizers holding steady, Commander Patel confirmed from his station in Olympus Command. The Zaxians haven't detected any anomalies in the quantum field. Admiral Nakamura studied the tactical display, watching as the Zaxian fleet moved closer to Earth, spreading out to establish orbital dominance. Begin Phase 3 of Operation Mirage. Show them exactly what they expect to see. Across the globe, carefully planned scenes of chaos unfolded. Civilian communications networks erupted with panic, all artificially generated. Emergency broadcasts showed evacuations and destruction, each image and video carefully crafted to reinforce the Zaxians' belief in their overwhelming superiority. On the Eternal Dominion, Sub-Commander Kilara reviewed the battle damage assessments. Their military infrastructure is collapsing faster than anticipated. Supreme Commander. Their remaining defensive platforms are attempting to reposition, but their maneuvering capabilities are laughably primitive. Launch the second wave, Knoxville commanded. Target their space base assets. Let's strip away what little protection their orbital facilities still provide. The Zaxian fleet's second barrage targeted Earth's satellite network and space stations. What appeared to be desperate attempts by human forces to protect these assets were actually carefully choreographed movements, drawing the Zaxians deeper into humanity's trap. Dr. Ibrahim's quantum interface pulsed with new data as he analyzed Zaxian communications. Their confidence levels are at maximum, Admiral. They believe this is the easiest conquest they've undertaken in centuries. In the asteroid belt, what the Zaxians dismissed as simple mining debris began to shift position imperceptibly. Quantum-masked nanite swarms moved into predetermined attack vectors, waiting for the signal to activate. Near Mars, dimensional phase generators hidden within apparent atmospheric processors powered up silently, preparing to reshape the very fabric of space around the Zaxian fleet. They're preparing for ground deployment, Lieutenant Commander Tanaka reported. Troop carriers are moving into low orbit. The Zaxians are following standard invasion protocols exactly as our simulations predicted. Admiral Nakamura nodded grimly. Begin final countdown for Operation Revelation. All units prepare for synchronized quantum shift. Earth's apparent defensive collapse continued. Military bases appeared to be in ruins. Communication networks seemed to be failing, and the few remaining orbital platforms displayed increasingly erratic behavior. Each failure, each retreat, each sign of defeat was meticulously planned to draw the Zaxian fleet into optimal position. Supreme Commander, Kilara announced with evident satisfaction, the humans are broadcasting a system-wide surrender request. Their leadership appears to be in complete disarray. Knoxville's crystalline form shifted in colors of triumph. As expected, prepare the occupation forces. This world will make an excellent addition to the Empire's resource production networks. In Olympus Command, Admiral Nakamura watched as the massive Zaxian troop carriers began their descent through Earth's atmosphere. Status of quantum field integration. All systems synchronized, Admiral. Commander Patel confirmed. Dimensional phase generators are at full power. Nanite swarms are in position. The quantum field matrix is stable and ready for activation. Dr. Ibrahim studied the latest psychological analysis of Zaxian command communications. They're completely committed now. Their entire command structure is focused on occupation protocols. They have no contingency plans for significant resistance. Perfect. Nakamura smiled. Humanity has played the part of primitive victims perfectly. Now it's time to show them who we really are. She straightened, her voice carrying the weight of 3 decades of preparation. All commands, prepare for synchronized revelation. Operation Mirage ends in 30 seconds. Operation Revelation begins on my mark. Throughout the solar system, humanity's hidden forces waited in quantum-shifted space, ready to emerge. What had appeared to be a primitive civilization's death throes was about to become the Zaxian Empire's worst nightmare. The trap was set. The enemy was committed. And in moments, the true face of human military might would be revealed. Operation Revelation begins now. Admiral Nakamura's command echoed through quantum-encrypted channels. Across the solar system, humanity's true power emerged from dimensional shift in perfect synchronization. The first sign that something was wrong came when the Zaxian fleet's quantum sensors detected massive energy fluctuations throughout their formation. In an instant, what had appeared to be empty space around their ships shimmered as thousands of advanced weapon platforms phased into normal spacetime. Supreme Commander Naxville's crystalline form pulsed with alarm. Impossible. Where did these structures come from? Full scan of all sectors, but before the Zaxian sensors could complete their analysis, the trap was already springing. The debris field they had dismissed as primitive satellite fragments suddenly came alive, each piece revealing itself as a quantum-shifted nanite cluster. These swarms streamed toward the Zaxian vessels, beginning to dismantle their crystalline hulls at the molecular level. Multiple systems failing. Sub-Commander Kilura's voice cracked with panic. Unknown technology is breaching our hull integrity. Our quantum shields are being bypassed completely. In Olympus Command, Admiral Nakamura watched the chaos unfold on her tactical display. Activate dimensional phase generators. Let's show them what real space warfare looks like. The massive generators hidden in Mars' apparent atmospheric processors powered up to full capacity. Space itself began to twist around the Zaxian fleet, creating localized distortions that their ship's navigation systems couldn't comprehend. Vessels that had been in perfect formation suddenly found themselves occupying the same space-time coordinates, their hulls merging with catastrophic results. They're trying to retreat to hyperspace, Commander Patel reported, monitoring the quantum field fluctuations. Activating gravity locks now. What the Zaxians had dismissed as primitive lunar bases revealed themselves as massive gravity manipulation arrays. Concentrated gravitational fields enveloped the alien ships, making hyperspace jumps impossible and conventional movement nearly so. Dr. Ibrahim's quantum interface flashed with incoming data. Their command structure is collapsing. They can't comprehend how thoroughly they've been deceived. Their entire tactical doctrine is based on technological superiority. They have no protocols for this situation. On the bridge of the Eternal Dominion, chaos reigned. How is this possible? Naxville demanded as another squadron of ships disappeared into a dimensional rift. They were primitive. We saw their technology. You saw what we wanted you to see. Admiral Nakamura's voice came through on all Zaxian frequencies, transmitted in perfect Imperial Standard. Humanity has been watching your empire for decades. We learned your tactics, your technology, your weaknesses. Every sign of primitive development was carefully crafted to draw you into this trap. The Zaxian response came as a desperate barrage of energy weapons, but the beams passed harmlessly through apparent human targets, hitting only holograms and empty space. Earth's real military installations, still phase-shifted, remained untouched. Lieutenant Commander Tanaka coordinated the nanite swarm attacks with precision. Swarms have compromised 30% of their fleet. Dimensional phase generators are maintaining spatial distortion fields at maximum efficiency. The massive Zaxian troop carriers, caught in Earth's gravity wells, began to break apart as nanite swarms dismantled their hull plating. Their crews, trained for conquest of primitive worlds, found themselves facing weapons and tactics they couldn't understand, let alone counter. Launch quantum torpedoes, Nakamura ordered. Target their command ships specifically. Let's end this decisively. From Earth's hidden orbital platforms, streams of quantum-shifted projectiles emerged. Unlike conventional weapons, these torpedoes existed in multiple phase states simultaneously, making them impossible to dodge or defend against with standard shields. The Eternal Dominion's bridge erupted in chaos as warning systems overloaded. Supreme Commander, Kilura screamed, "We're detecting weapons that operate outside normal spacetime. Our sensors can't track them. Our shields can't." The massive flagship vanished in a cascade of quantum detonations, taking the Zaxian command structure with it. Across the solar system, the remaining alien vessels found themselves trapped between dimensional rifts, gravity fields, and swarms of hull-eating nanites. "Transmit on all frequencies," Admiral Nakamura commanded. "To all remaining Zaxian vessels, your fleet is destroyed. Your command structure is eliminated. Your empire has encountered something it never expected, a species that understood the power of patience and deception." She paused, letting the situation sink in for the surviving Zaxian commanders. "You can either surrender now and be treated according to human laws of war, or be destroyed by weapons your sensors still can't fully detect. You have 5 minutes to decide." Dr. Ibrahim monitored the Zaxian communications channels. "They're in complete psychological shock, Admiral. Their entire worldview has been shattered. The surrender signals are already beginning to come in." Across the tactical display, markers for Zaxian ships began changing from red to green as they powered down their weapons. The greatest fleet in the Empire's history had been defeated not by brute force, but by humanity's capacity for strategic deception and technological innovation. The battle for Earth was over, but the message to the galaxy had just begun. Humanity was not to be underestimated. 3 days after the battle, Admiral Nakamura stood before the United Earth Council in the restored Geneva chamber, delivering her final report on Operation Revelation. The quantum displays behind her showed the remnants of the Zaxian fleet, now under human control, their crystalline hulls being studied by Earth's scientists. "The Zaxian Empire has sued for peace," she announced to the assembled leaders. "Our quantum communications intercepts confirm that news of their defeat has reached their core worlds. Their entire strategic doctrine has collapsed in the face of this single battle." The chamber's holographic displays shifted to show the broader galaxy, with Zaxian territory highlighted in fading red. Dr. Ibrahim stepped forward, his quantum interface projecting real-time analysis of empire-wide communications. "The psychological impact has been exactly as we predicted," he reported. "The Zaxians built their entire civilization on the assumption of technological supremacy. Our victory hasn't just defeated their fleet, it's shattered their cultural identity." In orbit, the captured Zaxian flagship Eternal Dominion hung suspended in a quantum containment field. Lieutenant Commander Tanaka supervised teams of scientists as they examined the vessel's technology. Despite the Empire's apparent advancement, human quantum engineering had already surpassed many of their systems. The interrogation of captured officers has been revealing, Commander Patul reported, bringing up new data streams. "The Empire has never encountered a species capable of such comprehensive deception. They literally cannot comprehend how we hid our true capabilities for so long." The council chamber's displays shifted again, showing the status of Earth's revealed defense network. What had been hidden in quantum-shifted space now stood proudly visible. Massive orbital platforms, dimensional phase generators, gravity control arrays that could reshape space itself. "We've received communications from 17 other spacefaring civilizations," Admiral Nakamura continued. "All of them previously intimidated by Zaxian power. They're eager to establish diplomatic relations with Earth now that we've proven ourselves their equals, or perhaps their superiors." In the asteroid belt, mining ships openly displayed their true nature as advanced manufacturing centers, producing new generations of quantum-shifted weapons and defensive systems. The Mars colonies, no longer hiding behind a primitive facade, revealed vast cities protected by dimensionals, shields that made them virtually impregnable. "The question before us now," Nakamura addressed the council, "is how to proceed. We've demonstrated our power. The galaxy knows we can defend ourselves, but they don't yet understand our true nature." Dr. Ibrahim's quantum interface pulsed with new data. "The other civilizations are watching us carefully. They expect us to behave as the Zaxians did, to use our power to dominate and control. We have an opportunity to show them a different path." The council chamber fell silent as Council President Takeda rose from her seat, Perhaps that was the true purpose of Operation Revelation, she suggested. Not just to defend Earth, but to demonstrate that power doesn't have to corrupt, that advanced civilization doesn't have to mean empire. Admiral Nakamura nodded. We've already begun receiving requests for technological assistance from worlds previously subjugated by the Zaxians. They've seen how we used our power, not to conquer, but to defend. Not to dominate, but to protect. The displays showed the status of Earth's new diplomatic initiatives. Medical aid being sent to former Zaxian colonies, quantum engineering teams helping to rebuild damaged worlds, cultural exchange programs already being established with dozens of civilizations. The Zaxian Empire rose through fear and technological intimidation, Nakamura concluded. But humanity can show the galaxy a different way. We hid our strength not out of fear, but because we understood that true power lies not in domination, but in wisdom. Not in conquest, but in cooperation. In the weeks that followed, Earth emerged as a new type of galactic power. The quantum technologies they had hidden for so long were now shared with peaceful civilizations. The defensive networks that had protected Sol's system became part of a larger collaborative defense initiative, helping other worlds protect themselves from future aggression. The Zaxian Empire, humbled but not destroyed, began a painful process of reformation. Their defeat at Earth's hands had taught them that technological advancement without wisdom was a path to stagnation, not true progress. And humanity, stepping out of the shadows at last, demonstrated to the galaxy that the most powerful civilizations weren't those that sought to conquer others, but those that had the wisdom to wait, the intelligence to plan, and the compassion to use their power for the benefit of all. As Admiral Nakamura looked out at the stars from Olympus Command, she reflected that perhaps this had been humanity's greatest deception and greatest revelation of all, showing that in a universe of empires and conquest, there was still room for hope, cooperation, and peace. The age of human isolation was over. The age of human leadership had begun.